Ever get that feeling? Like job hunting is just one giant, easy apply button vortex, stuck in this loop of faceless applications, automated rejections. Makes you wonder if there's even a better way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can definitely relate to that feeling. The old way of job hunting, it's definitely got its frustrations.
For sure. Which is why we were so intrigued when we came across this platform, RoleCatcher. They're really leaning into this whole AI-powered job hunting thing, even more than just your average job board.
Yeah, and it's not just hype either.
Hmm.
Looking at the stuff you sent over, the really interesting thing is how RoleCatcher tackles a lot of those common job search headaches. But they're doing it all through this AI lens.
Okay, so let's dive into that a bit. Their jobs page mentions this thing called RoleCatcher. Capture. Honestly, sounds a bit too good to be true?
Well, it's pretty straightforward, actually. Think of it like a browser extension, but it's basically your own personal job scout. See a job you like on LinkedIn? Just one click and it's saved right to your RoleCatcher account. Same goes for Indeed and a bunch of other platforms too.
So basically, no more spreadsheets overflowing with job links. Everything's all centralized. Honestly, that alone would be a lifesaver, I think.
Organization. It's key in any job search, for sure. But RoleCatcher doesn't just stop there. They're not just collecting job postings. They're actually using AI to analyze them, to really figure out what employers are looking for.
Which kind of brings us to their CV resume builder, right? So it's not just about making your resume look nice, it's about making it speak AI, I guess.
Exactly. A lot of people, they just stuff their resumes with all these keywords, hoping something will stick. But RoleCatcher kind of clips the script. Imagine this. You're applying for some marketing role, and it specifically says they need someone with experience in creative campaign development. RoleCatcher analyzes that, and then might suggest you highlight that viral social media campaign you designed at your last company. You know.
So you're not just left guessing what the hiring manager wants to see, you actually get a head start on figuring out what those algorithms are looking for.
Right. The platform actually gives your resume a score based on how well it matches the job requirements, so you know exactly where you stand before you even hit apply.
Man, that would save so much time and guesswork. I can't even tell you how many times I've stressed about whether my application even got past those applicant tracking systems.
Oh yeah, that's a common fear for sure. But that's just one part. RoleCatcher even uses AI to help personalize cover letters and, those annoying application questions.
It's almost like having a tiny recruiter whispering in your ear, say this, not that, haha. But AI feedback on my interview skills, that's a little scary, but I can see how helpful it would be to point out areas I need to improve.
It's definitely something new. So RoleCatcher has this interviews module, and it's got this massive library of practice interview questions. We're talking over 120,000.
Hmm.
And it's not generic stuff either. It's all tailored to specific careers and skills.
120,000. Wow, that's a lot of interview prep.
It is a lot. But get this, the really cool part is that they let you record your practice answers, like you're actually doing the interview with this video practice feature they have.
Oh, wow, that's actually smart because it's one thing to, practice in your head, but actually seeing yourself on video.
Yeah, exactly.
Eh.
It adds a whole other level to the interview practice. Like you can actually look at your body language, see how you're coming across your tone of voice, and really work on your delivery.
And of course, no AI-powered platform would be complete without some sort of feedback system, right?
Right. So RoleCatcher gives you this AI-powered feedback on your practice sessions. It'll listen to your responses, and it'll actually offer suggestions, like having a personal interview coach, but right there in your pocket.
So, I mean, so far, this is really painting a totally different picture of what job hunting could actually look like. But you know what they say, the proof is in the pudding.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of which, you sent over this really interesting case study. It was a detailed career guide on how to become a punch press operator.
Right. And it made me wonder why this career in particular. What was it about this role that stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, punch press is not exactly something we talk about every day. Feels like a whole side of the job market we just don't hear much about.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what makes it such a good example. It's not all, coding and digital marketing. There are a lot of people out there who are more into like hands-on stuff,
Yeah.
the skilled trades.
Oh, absolutely. So what does RoleCatcher have to say about becoming a punch press operator?
So the guide really stresses how important hands-on experience is in this field. It's not really one of those careers where you need a 4-year degree. You know what I mean? It's more about learning by doing,
Mhm.
apprenticeships, vocational training, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's all about those practical skills.
Yeah.
So what about the actual work? What are you doing day to day as a punch press operator? Well, they talk about using hydraulic rams and die sets,
Yeah.
which, gives you a little peek into the mechanics of it all. It's all about precision, making sure the machine is calibrated right, and of course, following all those safety procedures.
Sounds like it takes a lot of focus, attention to detail.
Oh, for sure. And here's something interesting. The guide actually says there's a lot of room to grow in this field. Like you could start with an entry-level position and work your way up, become a supervisor, maybe even get into tooling design.
So even though it's a specialized field, there's still a whole career path you can follow.
Exactly. And that's where I think RoleCatcher's features could be super helpful. Imagine you could use the platform to search for those higher-level punch press jobs or figure out exactly what skills you need to move up, you know.
It's like having your own career roadmap, not just showing you how to get the job, but how to build a whole career.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think that kind of brings us to the bigger picture here. This whole deep dive into RoleCatcher and even this specific career path, it really tells you a lot about how the job market is changing.
Okay, so for our listeners out there who are, trying to make sense of this whole digital job search thing, what's the key takeaway here? What have we learned?
I'd say the biggest takeaway is this shift we're seeing towards skills-based hiring. It's not enough to just list your old jobs on a resume anymore. Employers, they're looking for specific skills, and a lot of times they're using AI to find those skills.
So how do you actually prove you have those skills? How do you show them?
That's where things get really interesting. That's where a platform like RoleCatcher could be a game changer. It helps you pinpoint those in-demand skills for your target roles and then figure out how to highlight them. Put them in your resume, your cover letter, even your LinkedIn profile.
So it's not enough to just have the skills. You got to make sure they're visible, make sure the right people see them, or I guess the right algorithms see them.
Exactly. I mean, it's just the reality now, right? AI is everywhere. It's filtering applications, analyzing resumes, even doing those first-round interviews.
So RoleCatcher, in a way, is giving people the tools to work with that new reality, not against it.
Exactly. It's all about using technology to your advantage. Because if you know what the algorithms are looking for, you can play to that.
Yeah,
Tailor your application so you actually get noticed.
that makes a lot of sense. But it also makes you wonder, right? It makes you wonder, with AI kind of running the show now, what happens to the human side of all this, the human side of job hunting?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? Like, even with all this fancy AI stuff, I don't see human recruiters going anywhere anytime soon. It's about finding that balance, I think.
Yeah.
Using the technology to streamline things, but not forgetting that there's a real person, with their own experiences and everything behind every single application.
Totally. It's not just about, like, tricking the algorithms. It's about making a real connection.
100%. And that's something I think is really important to keep in mind as you're exploring these platforms like RoleCatcher. I mean, use the tools, experiment with the AI stuff, but you got to bring your own self to the table.
Yeah.
Be authentic.
Right. It's like AI can get your foot in the door, but it's still got to be you, your personality, your passions. That really wows them.
Yeah, well said. Well said. This has been really interesting. Any last thoughts for the folks at home before we wrap up?
For me, the biggest thing I'm taking away from all this is that the job search, it's changing, it's evolving. AI is a big part of that, but it doesn't have to be scary. Tools like RoleCatcher, they can actually make things fairer because they're giving you that inside scoop on what employers are after and how to show off your skills.
Yeah, I totally agree. Go with it. Try new things. And never forget, at the end of the day, it's all about finding the right fit for you, for your skills and experience. And who knows, maybe AI can actually help make those connections a little bit easier.
I like it. Well, thanks for diving deep with us today. And to everyone listening, happy job hunting.